I'm sure everyone says, can you hear me? Yeah, cool. What was interesting when I was waiting there to come on stage was obviously the last speaker had their little pocket of supporters in the corner there, and as soon as she went off stage, they all got up and left. I too brought about 4 people to smile in the audience at me, but they're all stood outside waiting in the rain still to come in, and they didn't get here early enough, so I'll look for a few friendly faces amongst you all to sort of like go off it. Right, so the thing we're going to cover off and we're going to is how the world's largest travel website found, lost, then regained the attention of 500 million users every month. All right. So just want to make an opening statement about the whole idea of attention, and it goes back to an IAB conference that I was at last year when people like the previous people who've been up talking were talking all about their attention metrics and how attention is the big thing now in digital advertising. And the panel was made up of I think it was the CFOs of Boots, Tesco's, and I can't remember the other 2. And they all basically looked slightly blankly and said, don't give us another metric, give us ROI. All right, that's really what it was. So me being a man of fairly simple memory, and that was my takeaway from that, was like, attention doesn't mean anything, it's all about ROI. And I wanted to having done a bit of self-reflection and gone through how Tripadvisor itself monitors successful ads and stuff like that, I've sort of done a 180 as it were, and come back really to this idea of what attention really means for us. So, this presentation, it's a combination of the corporate slides, which the PR team says you always have to slow, and like my own slides that I've put in. I don't think it'll be too hard to guess which ones are which, but if you say, that's one of yours, just put your hand up. So the main thing I wanted to get across is this idea of attention, and whether it's paying attention or gaining attention. And I think it sounds quite simplified, but paying attention is literally, you have connotations of being in a classroom, you're not paying attention, you're not doing it. It's the negative aspects around that. It's like when you say to someone, how are you doing? And they say, not bad. And you think, really, the best you can say is bad and put not in front of it. And that's quite often the British reaction is like, not bad, when actually what they mean is doing pretty well. So paying attention, I think, is a bad phrase to go with. Oh no, this slide had to come up, one of mine. But grabbing attention or gaining attention, I think that's what we really want to focus on here when it comes to bringing it back to that all-important ROI, which is what the CFOs are really looking for. So, a quick thing, who are Tripadvisor again? Corporate slide. The world's largest travel platform. In terms of size, we do actually dwarf, this is global numbers, if you added up, Airbnb, Expedia, Skyscanner, Kayak, added them all together, they'd still only be as big as Tripadvisor's reach is today. And if you take out travel and go more of like the UK wider audience, pains me to say the Mail Online is above us. But in terms of that reach as to where Tripadvisor is reaching kind of thing, it's above most of the main news publications. Another corporate slide. We're number 1 in trust, number 1 in traffic, number 1 in guidance. But really what I want to focus on here is that we're a lucky brand. We're a lucky brand in the sense that, we're a loved brand. Most people, if you say to them, I work for Tripadvisor, the first thing they'll say is like, I use Tripadvisor, or Tripadvisor helped me out somewhere, or Tripadvisor gave me a good tip. So we're quite lucky in that respect that when people come to the platform, they're generally speaking in quite a good mood, they're quite positive, they're there to receive, advice, things to make their holidays better. So it's a good place for the right brands and the right ads to be appearing. Now, a brief history as to how we have approached attention. So Tripadvisor started back in about the year 2000, and the founder of the company, it's actually quite a sad story. He had a wife who was dying of cancer, and he wanted to take her on the most perfect trip she ever would have before she died. And he found that, like most things, you'd open a brochure and, it would look amazing, but when you got there, it wasn't quite the same. So he created Tripadvisor as this place where you'd get the most honest feedback from peers, and you could go there safe in the knowledge that you would have the best experience. And the monetization of Tripadvisor came very much through what we call the auction. It's kind of the equivalent of Google paid search. You'll search for somewhere, hotels will come up, you'll click on that, and we'll get revenue from the hotels. And as time moved on from 2000 to a bit forward, the concept of ads came up. And this was the slide he always used to show. And he said, over my dead body will ads ever appear on Tripadvisor. So that was his starting point. He never wanted ads on the site. He thought they were a bad thing, absolutely bad. So I've done the old way back when machine, and this was Tripadvisor's homepage, more or less when it first launched. Now, say what you like about it, but there's no clutter on it. Your attention goes to quite a specific place, and they've got a careers website on there, a contact center on there. But essentially, it was pretty much the most decluttered user interface you can have. It was shit, but that's where it started off. Jump forward now about 10 years to 2012, and there was still no ads on the page, but it was about 10, 15 different things you can do. You can do restaurants, you can go for a holiday. Where do you want to go on holiday? Where do you want to have things? And from a UX experience, that wasn't quite right either. So leaping forward I took this from 2015, which was the day I started, or more or less the time I started, and they'd stripped back everything. So it was just literally on the homepage, it was where do you want to go and when do you want to do it? Really simplified, really specific, and in terms of what we're looking to do here, it got people's attention for what they wanted to do. Leap forward a little bit, and in between those, or around about that time, the idea of ads became a must-have for the company. We can't exist on just this one area of revenue alone. So ads were brought into the platform, and if we look at the homepage in 2016, go forward to what it looks like now, it hasn't changed a great detail, except there's a little ad at the top there, right? Big deal, not that relevant, it's not overly cluttered, no one clicks on it. But it does what it does. So our question came to be, right, if we're going to have ads on the site, if we're going to have this revenue stream from ads, what are we going to hang our trust on in terms of what those ads are going to be, how they're going to appear, and what they're going to look like? And the thing it really came back to is relevance and trust. So the environment had to be an environment where the ad experience is not going to, all the things Wonderkind was saying beforehand, all the things the previous presenter was saying, it can't take away, it can't sort of disrupt the reason why people are coming to the website, because if it does, it's just going to piss them off. So we started looking at ads then for working with some of our travel partners, and they would give us their creative ads that have been created by wonderful creative agencies. And they might look something like that Abu Dhabi one at the top. Rocket Boy, a series of extraordinary stories. Now that might work quite well on a non-travel website. It's a bit disruptive, it's a bit sort of theory captures your mind. You might think, oh, I want to go and click off on that. But we know that we do know that our users were very much there to do one thing and one thing alone, which was to get information that's going to improve their experience and improve their holiday. So we said to the agency, how about you let us just rework your creative, we make it look more native, and we changed it to that, which doesn't look particularly nice, but it blends in more with the platform. Instead of talking about this abject concept of a Rocket Boy, it was actually highlighting some of the main things to do in Abu Dhabi, underlaying them with Tripadvisor reviews, underlaying them with a native feel to it. And actually, the results were almost instantaneous. So the previous one, I know no one likes to talk about CTRs. Previous one, 0.09 click-through rate. The native one, it was more tying into what people felt, a 0.57% click-through rate. It's not off the charts, but at least it added to the experience, and it took the pressure off us from our founder, CEO, in the terms of he could actually look at that and go, okay, you're not destroying the experience for our users when they come on. So ads have now got a tick box on the site. The next thing we wanted to really work on was this idea of being, contextually relevant, but not annoying. The previous Wonderkind person was saying ads can't be annoying. If they're annoying, they'll piss people off and stuff like that. So a cheeky screenshot from a news website, which was I don't know why, but I wanted to see why Madonna had ended up in hospital for an ambulance sort of thing. So you go on there, there's a video, but there's a pre-roll about a car, and there's an ad about AI. Okay, I know that's programmatic or whatever, but the whole thing was like, it was a jarring experience for disrupting what you wanted to do when you get there. And I don't know what the numbers are, but the amount of people who move off the site because they've seen it all before, they don't want to have to wait for that thing to go through. It doesn't add to their experience. And more to the point, on Tripadvisor, the main thing we want people to do is get through to that point where they've chosen a destination, chosen a hotel, chosen where they want to stay in a city, and then pick a hotel. Because it's picking the hotel is where we get most of our revenue from. So it can be it can be interruptive, but not take away from that whole user experience. So that is something firmly was a big fat no, we're not going to do that. But jumping into the world of, got 8 minutes left. Jumping into the world of the programmatic and stuff like that, this is an example. So this is an area on the site which is top restaurants in San Francisco, all right? So the ad there for The Idol, I don't know if anyone's seen The Idol. Anyone? Apparently it's like 2 out of 10 or something like that. It's meant to be truly awful. It looks quite good there, but there is some contextual relevance in the sense that I believe it's set in San Francisco, and this is San Francisco restaurant, so there is some link there. But it's not really what we're looking to do, and not really the success of where, you know, we see the attention linked to the added value, linked to the increased user experience of ads on the site. So the one I really want to show you is how we think we've done the best job we can possible, both of ads that are endemic to the travel space and ads that are, you know, perhaps a bit more tangential, a bit more non-endemic to the site. So this is the home page now, and you can see previously with a standard, we used to have a standard banner at the top there, which was, you know, creative agency comes along, puts it up there, and it's actually an ad for Las Vegas. So Las Vegas Convention Bureau are trying to like interrupt that journey right at the very start and say, hey, before you even begin typing where you want to search, have a think about Las Vegas. Yep, not bad, works quite well. It's links to the site. It's a fairly obvious experience that someone would go through. But then for our non-endemic partners, and one of our key non-endemic partners, so one's not related to travel, is Shell. I know, boo. But actually, they're very keen on the idea of recharge, getting like, you know, recharge vehicles, people using their recharge vehicles. And they said that they wanted to partner with us, which was very flattering. Again, love brand, we're really grateful for it. They wanted to partner with us because they saw us as a cool place. And they thought, Shell, not cool, Tripadvisor, cool. If we hang out with cool people, we'll be seen to be cool, and it comes through. But we don't want just ads on the site, okay? It can't just be ads. Ads would be like, you know, it wouldn't play into the whole thing. Great, ticks all our boxes, lovely. So if you go on the homepage now and you scroll just down below the main hero image, we've got this area here now, which is, it's the Shell Recharge Adventures, okay? So yes, it's got the whole sponsored by Shell up there, but it's not just taking the blind creative of, you know, what would be going out across, you know, programming stuff like that. We've weaved it all into our content, so how to plan the perfect EV road trip, 4 road trip tips to take on your electronic vehicle, take a road trip and recharge this year. So it's weaving that whole idea of like what the benefits of using Shell Recharge are, linking it in with our loyal audience and badging it up. So it's this whole idea of branded content, which is still advertising, but it's captured our users' imagination in the sense that they see this as adding to their journey, adding to their experience. They might not be ready to do it now, but it's like seeding it in their minds that they will use that going forward. So I'm not going to share all the CTRs and stuff like that, but it's safe to say that the branded content pieces, where it's weaved into the site, the click-through rates are through the roof compared to what the traditional advertising would be. But when it comes back to, you know, the old measurements, so the old measurements of what we would have had would have been standard, you know, reach, viewability, CTRs. What we're now working on the idea of what is real successful measurement for these marketeers, who in turn want to take it back to their CFOs and so on, is things like, you know, what was the engagement on the interactive ad? What was the dwell time on the branded content? What was the time spent? I can't even read that without my glasses, sorry. Oh, there we go. Time spent engaging with conversational experiences on Alexa. Again, it's another tie-up we have with Alexa. Hours spent on our streaming service on things. So it's this whole much more wider package of what's going on, footfall at experiential events. And it's all about incrementality. So working with a destination, it's not, we would never talk about, someone clicked on an ad or whatever it might be. It's what was the uplift of people who were unexposed, and that key metric up there is how many people who weren't looking at Las Vegas when they first came on, as a result of interacting with the ads, then went on to look at Las Vegas. And again, if we get it down to round about $1 per increment, not organic, but per incremental looker, that suddenly becomes a KPI that any CFO can understand. Going back to that original point, trying to get more KPIs in the mindsets of CFOs and CMOs about the attention of this, the attention of that. If you can break it down to, we got a cost of roughly £1, $1, €1 per incremental person to look at your destination. That's something that they can really understand and something that they can really, really get behind. So to kind of sum it up, does attention have a place in the marketing mix? I said at the start, no, it's something it's another complication kind of thing. Completely U-turned on that. I'd absolutely say, as long as it's proposition that with relevance and a positive environment and added value, that will get the greater attention, which can be measured by the lumens of this world, and that in turn will result in better ROI. And as we know, better ROI equals happier CEOs, CFOs, and CMOs, and we're all the much better for it. So that's a little journey into the Tripadvisor story. Very happy to take any questions or whatever anything might be. Otherwise, over to Mike.
Very good. So a really interesting story, about yield in a way. As a business, you're all about yield management, about making sure hotel rooms are full and so on. Do you think of the advertising in the same way in terms of an efficient horizon? Sometimes there's too much and sometimes there's too little.
Yeah.
Is that a debate that you've gone through?
Absolutely. And over the pandemic, I know we all suffered over the pandemic, but my God, travel suffered over the pandemic. So naturally over that period, we opened up the floodgates to, the open exchange a lot more, and a lot more ads were appearing on the site that weren't as contextually relevant, weren't as added experience. Yes, it kept the money flowing in, which was very important at that stage. But we only have to look at the results between the two to know that that content-led brand partnerships experience works so much better for our users, works so much better for the partners, and indeed it gets so much more attention. So yes, of course, we're interested in ads on the platform. Yes, we'd love just to have just content partnerships, but it is a question of balancing, literally balancing the budget sheet across both.
Very good. And there's an interesting thing about advertising. Sometimes it's pollution, and sometimes it's utility. When mortgage advertising is very boring until you need to buy a house, and then suddenly it becomes very interesting. Do you think that advertising on your sites, is because of its relevance and because of the nature of the branded content and stuff? Are you pushing more towards that utility view of advertising, or do you think you'll start trying to distract people from their journey a bit more?
Bit of both. We're definitely focusing more on the value of our audience. So really profiling what our audience is, what our audience would be interested in, not just when they're going on holiday, but what they might need before a holiday, when they come back from a holiday, but also when we look at the planning cycle of a holiday. It can be 6 months out quite often. So what we like to think, and again, on that underlying bit, we're lucky, we're a trusted brand, that if someone comes onto Tripadvisor and they may be looking for a holiday, but like you say, they may be looking for cheaper car insurance, cheaper thing. If they see it on the site in that trusted environment, then they won't see it so much as an interruptive thing, as okay, well, this is a website I trust. I will be probably slightly more inclined to sort of see what they're saying. Yes, it does work. Does it work as well as the other versions? No, but it still works.
Well, evidence of the value of relevance there.
Yeah.
You know, this holiday advertising on a holiday site is better than insurance. It's still a trusted environment as well. And then one final question, a little bit more practical, but I think important nonetheless, which is that Justin spoke a lot about web ads. How does this translate to app? And how do you find the relationship between advertising on the app and on the website? Is it the same? Is it different? Is there anything?
No, we base it mainly around what the usage of the app is, and the usage of the app skews massively to what you're doing in your local area. So the website is still very much focused on people planning a holiday, you know, a month, 3 months, 6 months out. The app is much more, what am I doing either in destination or when I'm at home? What am I doing this weekend? What is the things to do around the brewery or whatever it might be kind of thing. So again, it's not necessarily splitting the advertisers out, but like the location and the proximity of what that advertising messaging is offering to where that user is in that app user experience.
And the yield management things on app, was that a journey you went on in app as well? Did you have too much and then bring it back down to a more sustainable level, or
almost completely different? That we didn't have any ads at all in app until about 2 years ago.
Right.
And usually it was the sticky one at the bottom that fat thumbs would click on kind of thing. But now it's become more integrated and things like that. So all those things like the Shell Recharge Adventures, the Las Vegas one, they would all be integrated into the app as well now.
Very good. Very good. Well, guys, thank you very much. Justin Reid, thank you.